I'd like to introduce you to Maria. She's a teacher in the school that partners with. And when she was hired as a teacher several years ago, she was hired to teach second grade in one school, but a couple of weeks later found herself teaching fourth grade in a school on the other side of town. And she hadn't prepared to teach fourth grade. She didn't know anything about the content. She was pretty much underprepared, ill-supported, and feeling isolated in that work. She had 34 fourth graders in her classroom, 2/3 of whom didn't speak very much English. All but 4 were well below grade level in reading. So not only could she not teach what she was hired to teach for these little ones, but she was responsible for teaching them to read so that they can even address the content that she was ill-prepared to teach them. You might think that her situation was a little bit frustrating. It was. Unfortunately, as hard as teaching is, it's that much harder when you don't have access to the language and when you don't have mastery of language. And you don't have that to use to help students learn English and other subject matters. Maria, unfortunately, is not by herself. In California alone, there are over 2 million little ones who are reading well below grade level. That, by the way, just to give you a sense of scale, is the entire population of Oakland, San Francisco, and San Jose. This is a crisis. I mean, it really is. Who's going to solve it? The teachers will. They have to. They're the only ones who are sitting side by side, shoulder to shoulder, eye to eye with our most challenged kids and our most challenged communities. They're the people who've dedicated their lives to the welfare and success of other people's children. They have to solve this problem. But of course, just as the deck is stacked against little ones when they come to school, many teachers like Maria found that the deck is stacked against them as well. They tend to work in isolation. They tend to lack the ability, the interest, or even the opportunity to collaborate powerfully. Maria tried to get support for herself. She asked her principal, she asked her colleagues, and pretty much if you could sum up what she heard from them, it would be, do your job, stay in your classroom. Luckily for Maria, she happened to be in a school that Partners had partnered with. And before too long, the team that Partners is assigned to the school made its way around to Maria's grade level. And after about 3 months, she found suddenly she's in collaborative conversations with her colleagues, where she's talking about the fact that she cries herself to home every day, and utilizing their own resources and their mastery, is able to, for the first time, really get a handle on some of the challenges, where she's actually 3 days ahead of the instruction as opposed to, preparing for it the night before. She also had this incredible coaching relationship. Partners is often called the McKinsey of public school change, because we spend a lot of our energy and a lot of our time building the will as well as the skill associated with managing change in the schools, in the individual, and across systems. And so she suddenly realized that not only is she not alone, but not only is she in a situation where her colleagues are her best asset and her best resource, but she is actually a resource to other colleagues as well. Working at the school site level, we realized very quickly, is insufficient. Because even if we were able to transform what's happening in a particular school at a particular time, everyone in this room knows that behavior district administrators can undo pretty much any good reform. And often that's what happens. So we work also at the district level. We bring these folks out of their ivory towers and into classrooms that are high functioning, and into observed grade level team collaborations that are really productive and powerful, in order for them to know what these things look like and come to understand why it's important to sustain them, and God willing, be able to implement this work themselves. So partners, like others pretend to be, we typically do work ourselves out of a job. We stay in the school long enough to see the power of the work. And in our work in these schools, we've learned something that we think is really important. Every success story is a support story. All of the people you see here on that slide, and many of the ones who you value in your own lives, you scratch the surface of their success and you won't have to go too far down to find a coach or a teacher or an uncle or an aunt or a cross the street neighbor who cleared a burden for you before you even got to it, right? And so because every support story, every success story is a support story, our work supporting the powerful interactions between teachers and children, between administrators and teachers, builds their capacity to work as a team, to be effective supporting the learning for their kids and their little ones. Maria now is hugely powerful as a teacher and as a support provider for her other colleagues. There are about 250 other teachers like Maria this past year who partners' work has touched in the Bay Area. These folks are enthused, reconnected to their work, collaborative, as committed to the success of the teacher across the hall as they are to the little ones in their own classrooms, and that's what we need in order to resolve this particular challenge. Because of partners' work, over the last 3 years, 4,431 students are reading on grade level who wouldn't be reading on grade level otherwise. That means that they can follow their own interests where it takes them. They're no longer tethered or anchored to what other people give them to read. Partners has pretty ambitious goals. We want to take this approach to school and district transformation national. We want to be the ones who address the problem where it resides without replacing teachers with cheaper, shorter versions of themselves, but actually by building the capacity of the systems in which they work to transform their own ability to be professional in the work. Partners has proven it. We've done it now in several school districts across the Bay Area, and with the help of SV2 and others, we want to take this to the rest of the world. We're excited. It's what our country needs. Thank you very much for your time.